Okay. Now you can do a number of things with fonts here as well. So I believe it's draw set font. Yes. So let's say that I want to make my font larger. I mean, that was awesome and all, but I haven't created a font yet, but I'm going to place it in here and basically set the font before this. You can also set the color. So for example, if I want to make this, I don't know, blue, I will do that. Now keep in mind whenever you set the color though, every object that draws after this, if you draw any text on the screen or lines or that kind of thing, they're going to use the same color. So anytime you want to draw something that's a primitive thing, you have to reset the color before you start drawing whatever that is. It won't affect sprites, but it will affect things that are like lines, arrows, circles, that kind of stuff. All right, so the font. It's complaining because it's like, font? What font? You don't have a font. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should put that in. So I'm going to create a new one of those. So what font do I want? I don't know. What do we have? Sure. Arial, Forte, all sorts of weird stuff. I'm just going to go with Times New Roman, I guess. I get to pick the size, so I'm going to be like 36-point font. That looks good. This character range. For those of you that don't know, the characters that you're looking at on the screen come from a chart of ASCII values. So let me go grab a picture of that real quick. So this is the ASCII chart. If you're wondering like what letters they are, so the lowercase letters A through Z are the numbers 97 through 122 in ASCII. The numbers themselves are over here, 48 through 57. So whenever a computer is translating letters to things you see on the screen, it actually is using these codes to figure it out. This is kind of an old system. Number 7 is a bell. So there's a bunch of stuff that we never use anymore because most typewriters had bells, but very few computers do. But that's the ASCII chart. Anyway, so when it's asking about the character range, that's what it's asking is, which ASCII characters do you want to include? Usually these are fine, the default ones. And actually, font 0 is kind of a terrible name. Let me change that. My awesome font. All right, I feel better now. So in here, I'm going to use that name. Now what about colors? There's a few ways you can do colors. There's a number of preset ones that you can actually use. So if I do, is it C underscore? Yes. So if you use C underscore, you'll see a whole bunch of options you have: aqua, black, fuchsia, green. These are mostly the primaries, secondaries, and tertiary colors. If you want to actually do, so you could put one of these in, so I could do aqua, and in fact, that would work. Look, aqua. If you want to actually create something from the red, green, blue values, you can do that as well. So if I go look up colors, you can make a color from an RGB value. So if I'm like, I really want to make one with a particular set of values, you give a number from 0 to 255 for red, green, and blue. And you basically replace that here. So make color, and I'm going to be like, I want 100, 100, 255. And it makes it that kind of light reddish color. By the way, if you're wondering what the RGB values are, when you actually edit a sprite and you look at the colors, let's see. Does this have it? This one doesn't seem to have it, but you can, what's going on over here is this is actually altering the RGB values. If you open up Paint, you can actually take a look at what those values are. So let's see. Do I have paint on here? I do. So if you open up the editor in Paint and look at a particular color, you can actually see what the red, green, and blue values are. So this color is red 55, green 187, blue 72. So you can actually go look that up. GIMP and Photoshop and all those programs also have more powerful versions of that. All right, anyway, tangent aside. So now I'm able to set the font if I want to. I can set the colors, and I can draw things wherever I want on the screen. There are more advanced versions of this. So there's another draw text command, which gives you more options. So you can actually set up like colors to change as you go across it. You'll have to look up the specifics of each of those different draw commands to see what exactly it'll do. All right, I think that is everything you will need for Tetris. You know how to rotate, you know how to complete lines, you know how to show the high score table, you know how to end the game. So I think that should be everything you need.